Welcome to the Grit Podcast.
Welcome to the Grit Podcast, the podcast that motivates and encourages you to become the real man you're destined to be. Broadcasting live in the rugged Northwest, just east of the trailblazing city of Portland. So let's get locked and loaded, because it's time to get gritty with it. Here's your host and lead grit man, Jamie Worley.
All right, we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you grabbed your coffee. Let's take a sip of that. We're going to jump right into this. All right. Well, welcome back, Grit Men. Glad you're joining me today. Well, today we are in our second episode of our series called Pacing Yourself for Success. Now, in pacing yourself for success, what you actually do, which is your performance, well, that's where the rubber meets the road. Now, in the last episode, I talked about how you can't really ease into getting things done and be successful, but you must leap into action. And I use the acronym LEAP, L.E.A.P, for this acronym, or for this whole process. But the L stands for leaning into your strengths. Now, check out the last episode for more on that. It's the launch pad for the rest of the episodes to come. Now, today's episode, I want to address the E in LEAP. Now, when it comes to performance, okay, the L was leaning into your strengths. Now, the E, today, what we're going to talk about, the E stands for educating yourself continually. Let me ask you something. Have you guys ever met somebody that just does not want to listen? I'm not talking about your teenagers, okay, or some young adults. I'm talking about grown-ass men who just refuse to listen. Now, I run an estate planning company. And from time to time, I run into this. An individual wants to go to work for me, and the individual comes from an insurance or financial planning profession, some sort of banking or even real estate, or some other professional profession. And they have some knowledge about estate planning. It's usually limited about, how finances work and how sales work. What they do know is they've been pretty successful in the past, and they've been doing it for years. So when I begin to train them on how the estate planning industry works, a no-brainer attitude tends to arise, like what I'm telling them is easy, elementary, and common knowledge. And maybe it is to them to some degree, but what do? They stop paying attention. They stop listening. Then when I teach them to transition from being a living room car salesman to an educator, they blow it off and they try to use all the sales techniques they've used all over the years in the past in an attempt to be successful in this new estate planning field for them. What are the results? Well, they either fail the final exam and training, or they get into the field and they fail to land clients, thus making no money, thus either quitting, or I end up letting them go. All because of what? All because they refuse to listen and learn. These kinds of people, they will never maximize their performance, but they'll continue to wish big, they'll dream big, be very passionate, and they'll make excuses for all their shortcomings and failures. It's never their fault, by the way. They may lean into their strengths, but if they fail to also educate themselves continually, they will leap right back into the same old stuck place they've always been in. They leap, but they don't leap forward. They leap straight up, landing them in the same place where they left off. And many times the impact of their landing, it creates this internal damage to their pride, mentally, spiritually, and it renders them depressed, full of anxiety, and sometimes even hopeless. It's hard to watch, especially with very talented people. It's very sad. But when you lean into your strengths and you commit to educating yourself continually, three major things begin to grow in your life. Things that will allow you to maximize your performance. Number one is this, if you're taking notes, you grow in your knowledge base. Sounds like a no-brainer, does it? But it's true. You grow in your knowledge base, which means you know more. I'll give you an example. Jeff Grandi, he's one of the owners and the operator of a barbershop called the Mob Shop. He keeps up with the trends. You've seen him. He was on the earlier episode. Can you imagine if he didn't keep up with the trends as a barber? You can imagine guys walking out of his shop with mullets, rat tails, Brian Bosworth lines in their hair, lightning bolts, 80s hair, metal hair with two cans of Aquanet holding it all together. he might be able to pay the least because he's getting some work done, and that would be a good thing for the community, I guess. But Jeff doesn't do that. Dudes walk out of his shop looking fresh, by the way. Shout out to the Mob Shop in downtown Gresham. If you need a haircut, make an appointment with Jeff today. 503-667-5237. You're welcome, Jeff. You owe me $100. Anyway, spend time by learning, reading articles, blogs, video tutorials, and talking with others who have more knowledge than you, and you will expand your knowledge. We just had an ice storm out here in east of Portland, Gresham area, all over the place, really. You probably had it too. We're done with it now, but I'll tell you what, the water pipe issue was a nightmare. We had 2 pop loose, and they were leaking mercilessly. One between the upstairs and the downstairs could not have been in a worse place. Flooding our kitchen, also running down the outside of the house and the inside of the house, the garage. Anyway, I called my friend Josh Hawks, who you've seen on here as one of my co-hosts. You've seen this podcast a number of times. He's been on here with me a bunch. He's a licensed general contractor. He came over, looked over the situation, and provided some temporary answers till he could get it fixed. Okay? Guess what I was doing while he was looking it over? I wasn't watching football. I didn't go to my office and read. I didn't go to the grocery store. I stayed out of his way, number one, so he could work. But I was listening intently to what he was saying, and I was watching him closely at what he was doing. By the time Josh left, he had a temporary fix on the whole problem I didn't know how to solve. And I had an increased knowledge of how these things work now, which brings me to the second thing. Educating yourself continually does. It not only grows your knowledge base so that you know more, but number 2, you grow in your vision so that you can see more. Wait a minute, what do you mean by that? You see, you're able to see more clearly where you are when you see more. Knowledge has a way of opening your eyes more, allowing you to have a greater field of vision for what's going on around you. Let's revisit the disconnected pipe situation. After learning from Josh how things work in the problem areas, I was able to expand that concept on how things work in the surrounding areas, the surrounding rooms. In fact, I was able to see that it works pretty much the same in the surrounding rooms and, in fact, the entire house. Before I committed to learning from Josh, man, I had no idea. I had no real knowledge base, and I certainly had no idea of how things worked in the surrounding rooms and area, much more the whole house. But because I was committed to learning, I now know more, and I now can see more. Think of the roads you know in your town. You know their names and where they go and where they don't go. Well, in the Gresham, Portland area, we have a number of roads. A couple of the more popular ones and larger ones, I-5, I-205, I-84, Highway 212, Highway 26. Those are just the names of the roads we have. But I can give you a little information that you may not know and expand your vision for not just your roads and my roads, but the roads across the United States. Did you know that usually 1- and 2-digit routes are major routes, and 3-digit routes are numbered as shorter spur routes from these main routes? Odd numbers typically increase from east to west. So if you're away from your home and you seem to be lost, you don't know where you're at, look for the numbers on the major or minor highways you're on. Even numbers typically run east and west, and odd numbers typically run north and south. For example, I-5 goes through California and Oregon, north and south, odd number. Now you know, now you can see more. Now you know how it works, and you also know how it works beyond where you currently are. Number 1, grow in your knowledge so that you can know more. Number 2, grow in your vision so that you can see more. And the third benefit of educating yourself continually is this. You can grow your understanding, which means you can plan more. See, here you discover why you are where you are. Not just that you are where you are, but why. You're able to clarify where you need to go from here. If you're struggling about where to go from here, it could be that maybe you're challenging yourself in the areas of growth in your knowledge base which in turn grows your vision, which in turn makes a path for you to grow your overall understanding. You can grow in your knowledge and even see more than you did before. But if you can't understand what all of that information means, you've just become smarter. Doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Applying that information requires understanding what that information actually means and the humility to engage with it in real time. Back to the broken pipe issue. If I didn't take the time to learn, I wouldn't be able to see the little picture or the big picture of how the pipes in the house work. Thus, I couldn't possibly understand how to plan for the next time the problem arises, nor can I understand the preventative measures that need to be taken to ensure that problem doesn't happen again. Educating yourself continually. Listen, you got to hear this. This is so tough for guys. Educating yourself continually is vital in maximizing your performance in any and every area of your life. The leap you take needs to be forward, not straight up, not backwards. To leap forward, you must commit to educating yourself continually. If you do, 3 things will happen. 1, you will grow in your knowledge base. You will know more. Number 2, you will grow in your vision so that you can see more. And number 3, you will grow in your understanding so that you can plan more. Hear me. Listen to this. Listen. If you don't know, you can't see. If you can't see, you can't plan. And if you can't plan, you cannot succeed. Well, how do I educate myself continually, you may say? Well, like an IV that hydrates you continually, you need a drip of knowledge daily. D-R-I-P. D, decide what you want to learn about. The R, research articles and blogs and videos from reputable people on these subjects. I, invest 15 to 30 minutes every day learning that chosen subject. And P, preserve what you've learned in a notebook or journal, something you can always refer back to when needed. You need a drip. You know, pipes are not my strength, whether they're smoking pipes or whether they're water pipes. So let me give you a leaning into your strengths, educating yourself continually example. Estate planning. I spend 15 to 30 minutes every workday reading articles or watching YouTube videos from experts in estate planning, expanding my knowledge and my vision for my clients and my company, and expanding my understanding of what my clients need today and how my company needs to grow in order to continue to provide those things. Currently, we are in 15 states, 4 of which I cover here in the Northwest. A direct result of continually educating myself here at my franchise in the Northwest is not only an extended knowledge base and a growing company that knows what our clients and potential clients need, but we know how we can expand to meet those needs even farther. How is that? Well, we have recently decided, I'm excited to announce, we've recently decided to address an area in our clients' lives we've never really been involved with before. That is the funeral planning area. We've helped many Americans avoid probate and pass all their assets to their loved ones without probate, privately, immediately, and in most cases tax-free. And all of the grief we have relieved for families, given them a peace of mind over the years, one major area of stress has continued to exist. An area estate planners, well, we typically aren't involved in, and that is funeral planning. Do they want to be cremated? If so, when? Where? Where will they be buried? But as we become more and more educated, we have been able to see more clearly where we are as a company, are now clarifying where our clients need us to go with them so that we can efficiently plan to do so. Imagine if we simply provided a last will and testaments to our clients and that's all we offered. Would that be bad? Well, not necessarily, not if you like probate. Personally and professionally, I've never heard a good story about probate, but all wills in all 50 states require your estate to go through probate before anything can be distributed. Sounds fun, huh? Well, if we didn't research and learn how to pass all of your assets to your loved ones without subjecting your family to probate, Would we be serving our clients in the best way possible? Of course not. No. If you don't know, you can't see. If you can't see, you can't plan. And if you can't plan, you can't succeed. So, commit yourself to educating yourself continually so that you can grow your knowledge base, so that you know more. You can grow your vision so that you can see more, and grow your understanding so that you can plan more. Next time right here on the Grit Podcast, we are going to talk about the A in LEAP. Like and subscribe to this podcast. Share it with a friend who may need to hear some of this stuff. Hey, receive a notification when you subscribe. You'll receive a notification right in your inbox when the new episode drops. Until next time, stay gritty, my brothers. I'll see you. We'll talk about the big A. See you next time.